Hey, Inside Fighting, big news. Chances are you're probably going to be watching Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul live on Netflix this Friday, and that's why we partnered up with our friends over at DraftKings to bring you closer to all the action. Right now, if you're a new customer, go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You can sign up using our promo code INSIDEFIGHTING, bet $5, and you'll receive $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Again, that's for all new customers. Go download that DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using our promo code INSIDEFIGHTING, bet $5, and you'll receive $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. And that's only at DraftKings. The crown is yours.
James Lynch here for Inside Fighting. Happy to be joined by my next guest, who's going to be in the main event of UFC Fight Night, February 7th, taking on Vincius Oliveira. This is a really fun fight. It is Mario Bautista back here on the program. Mario, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. Glad I'm catching you before the holidays. I know things get kind of busy there, but really cool to see you get this main event, man. I know 2025 was a really big year for you. Were you surprised to get an opportunity like this, or do you feel like UFC's kind of, rewarding you for, how great things have been in the bantamweight division for you?
Uh, a little bit of both. I guess everyone was pretty happy with my performance. Even though it was just tough on my end. I felt like I could have done better. Um, but it was a lot of good feedback from that fight, and so yeah, I feel like I'm being a little bit rewarded for my efforts and getting that main event.
Yeah, and let's quickly talk about that last fight. Good performance, man. Like, again, you had some Umar's, considered one of the best in the division, and you went in there and you really took it to him. Obviously, Umar got the win, but just your overall thoughts on that performance. Like I said, it's rare to lose a fight and get some props, but you certainly got plenty in that one.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, it was going to be a tough fight, no matter what. I wish I would have done things a little bit differently. Um, I wish it was here in the States. I wish it was 5 rounds. Um, but I just went out there, I gave it my best, like I always do. Um, and it still turned out, fairly good for me.
Yeah, and good experience, like I said, getting to travel and do all that stuff and fight a pretty high level opponent there as well. And obviously, lots happened since then. So we have a new bantamweight champion. It's Petr Yan. He defeats Merab Dvalishvili. What was your take on that fight? Because I think going in, I didn't see a lot of people thinking that Yan could pull it off. What was sort of your initial take going in, and then how the fight unfolded?
Yeah, no, I had the same thoughts everyone else did. I thought Merab was going to go in there and just, handle him for all the 5 rounds, like Merab usually does. But Jan went in there with a perfect game plan, razzled him up, defended the shots well, hurt hurt Merab, and actually went to the body. I've been saying that in a lot of these interviews, like you need to go to the body on Merab, and that's exactly what Jan did, and you could tell that it does hurt Merab. So I thought it was a great fight. It's a good mix up for the division. We'll see if there's rematches on the way. But it was a really exciting fight.
And, before we talk about Oliveira, obviously we're still in 2025. This I thought was a very good year for you. Again, we talked about the Umar fight. I know it didn't go your way, but you had a lot of good wins leading up to that, the Patchy Mix one. How is this year compared to the year before? Because it seems like you kind of became a fan favorite this year, whereas the year before, people kept holding that Aldo fight against you and everything else, right? It did seem like the tide had shifted in 2025 for you.
Yeah, no, I got to keep the same mindset that I've always had. Like whether the fans are with me or they're not. Um, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing. Just perform the best I can. Sometimes they might not like it, but you know, styles make fights. And I'm always gonna give my effort, 100% of my effort. So leading into this one, it's cool that they have my back. That that's fun. But I'm more excited to get on these main event uh, get these main event fights. These 5 round fights, these big names, and kind of work my way back. To where I was. I don't think it's going to take too much. 1 or 2 wins. I think I'll be right back to where I was at.
Was it a bit interesting that Eamon's a hobby kind of took your role this year because he had a fight with Aldo, which I think was even more controversial. He ends up getting the win in Montreal, and it seems like fans were not happy about that, and then that ended up being Aldo's last fight. Did you kind of notice that fans kind of went after him too for the same thing?
Uh, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I thought he performed well in that fight.
Yeah,
He that 3rd round, he almost looked like he was out,
yeah.
and he came back on top and finished on top, and was landing some great ground and pound at the end there. Um, so I mean, if he takes a little bit of heat off me, that's fine. I know there's other people in the UFC, not mainly in my division, but I know there's some guys that you know uh, didn't perform as well and got a little bit of heat off of me. So.
Yeah, well, I think there's a whole laundry list of fighters now that fans are against, this whole Tom Aspinall thing with the eye poke, and I mean, you name it, right? Like fans have been a little bit weird this year, let's say that. And did you see? I don't know if you saw, because we talked about this I think last time. Remember, MMA Guru said there was a bounty on you, but then when you fought Umar, he's like, "I'm taking the bounty off. We're going for Bautista in this one." Did you see that?
Uh, no, I didn't see that, but I heard that he gave me my props, so I guess that was cool to see. A little turnaround for him.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Well, he has a big influence, so I mean that's always good to see fans kind of jump on your side. And just last thing about 2025, a fight that I'm disappointed we never got to see because again we had a little bit of a confrontation. What I think it was in 2023, Henry Cejudo ends up having his retirement fight against Payton Talbott. Just your thoughts on that fight, and you a little bit bummed you didn't get to fight him.
That fight, no, I thought it was great. He was taking a risk. Going against Talbot, who's an up and comer, young, strong kid. But I thought Henry did great. He went out there, he performed the best he could. He dug in deep. I think there's many times in that fight where he could have just, you know what, I'm good. We'll call it, and either take the TKO and call it a day. But he stuck with it, and I think he finished off his career the best he could. He showed that he's a dog, and he stayed in there and tried to win it till the very end. So I respect that. Um, yeah, I guess that fight could have happened, last year or whenever that altercation happened.
Yeah.
But no, I try not to hold on to things like that. And like
No,
I said,
for
he
sure. It was a good
performed well.
promo, though. I got to be honest. You stood your ground quite well because Henry's good at trash talking, but I thought you explained things very well in like a very calm manner too. Like usually when people are in situations like that, they tend to get emotional, but you were like very even keel. I was very impressed by that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, I gotta tell it how it is. Like
Yeah.
you're like I've said, you're gonna say all those things on Twitter and say these things, but dude, we live in the same town. We're
Yeah.
gonna see each other at these fights. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is now.
Okay, let's talk about Vincius Oliveira. That's why we're here. Big fight, like I mentioned, first main event for you. Were there any other opponents offered, or was he sort of the only guy on your docket?
No, that was the only one that was kind of offered. I got the phone call and said, "Hey, looking for the main event against Oliveira, February 7th. What do you think?" And I was like, "Let's do it." I'm not hurt from my last fight. Um, I've been in the gym. There's really nothing to celebrate about from this past fight. So I've been in the gym, and I just want to get stay active. That's what I've been saying like the whole last year. I just want to be active. And I think this is a great opportunity. I finally get the main event fight, and against a great opponent as well, an exciting opponent. So I'm excited for it.
Stylistically, how are you looking at this one with you and Loke Dog here?
I gotta avoid that pressure. He kind of he beats these guys very similar. Forward pressured, winging punches. Uh, he's a real fighter. So uh, you know, got to work on things. Maybe play a little bit of I just got to make it a mixed martial arts fight. Up
Mm.
and down, push the pace. I finally get that fourth and fifth round to see what I could do in those later rounds. Hopefully break this guy down. Um, so those are the things I'm looking to do.
And how much do you think the 5 rounds and just your overall experience will benefit you here? Because you fought some really good opposition. This is a big step up for him. Like I know, in some ways, I think the pressure's a bit more on him because there's a lot of sort of hype behind him. But you've done this before, right? Patchy mix, you name it. There's been a lot of opponents where people think it's going to go one way and you spoil the plan, right?
Yeah. No, I'm excited for the 5 rounds. I've never done it before, so that's why it's a new challenge and it's exciting for me. And you know, I know in my heart, I'll always push it to the end, and so I'm excited to see what I could do those fourth and fifth rounds. And I just know I could break just about anyone. You know, now I won't break first. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, totally agree with that. Take me through camp a bit. Usual cast of characters. Who are you mainly working with ahead of this one?
Some of these guys like the bigger 45ers, because Oliver is kind of big. A little bit rangier with his punches, kind of wings his shots, and it's hard to replicate that in the room, right? You just can't tell someone, hey, just swing for the fences and do all these crazy things. So um, a lot of the 45ers at the gym. I've talked to Kyler about his fight. We've watched video on Oliveira to get his thoughts on it. Um, working with Jose Delgado, a lot of the younger guys. So
Mhm.
I'm just we're still getting good work over here.
Yeah, no, certainly a benefit having Kyler as a training. I mean, all those guys in there as well, which is great. Speaking of training partners, is this year we're going to see your guy Ezra Elliott in the UFC? You think?
Possibly that. I think a lot of people don't want to fight him.
Yeah,
I think it's getting tough for him. There's a lot of hype behind Ezra, and deservingly so. That kid's a beast. So I'm excited for him. Excited to see where he goes, and hopefully he gets his shot because I know he's just going to make a tear
yeah.
wherever he goes. So
Yeah, no, completely agree with that. And in terms of him switching weight classes, right? Because I think he's going to fight at featherweight now.
yeah, yeah. I think he's a young kid. I want to say he's like 24, maybe 25.
Yeah,
And he just had a hard time making 35. And around that age, you kind of start getting a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker. So I think it's a great move for him. And you know, I still think he's going to do great at 45. He could still be champ. I think if he keeps going the way he's going.
absolutely. Weight cut. How do you get through the holidays? Take me through that because there's going to be some good food around. Are you going to be disciplined? How does that work?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be disciplined. The family's gonna be leaving out of the state
Mhm.
for Christmas, so I'll be hanging out here because I got to be in camp.
Yeah,
So yeah, I was planning on going up to Nevada for Christmas,
yeah.
but like I said, I'll be hanging out here. Luckily, I got Thanksgiving, and I went ham on Thanksgiving, so
There you go.
uh,
Even better. Even
I
better.
got it all out then, so I should be good.
Yeah, I think, I know we talked about this before. Obviously I'm Canadian, so we don't have like our Thanksgiving isn't as big of a deal as Americans, and I know for some Americans like Thanksgiving is even bigger than Christmas, right? In terms of eating and all that. So it's kind of good you had that earlier as opposed to Christmas, which is next week, right?
Yeah, definitely. Our Thanksgiving, I think, is a lot more about food. Christmas, it's a little bit more about gifts. You might have a ham here and there, but Thanksgiving, especially with this Mexican side of the family, you're eating all day for about 2 or 3 days. So I got it all out. That's for sure.
There you go. Your corner, John Wood, Randy Sankey. Who else is going to be in the corner with you?
John Crouch will
Sorry,
actually
John
be
Crouch, not John Wood. I got my Johns mixed up. You know what? I talked to John Wood recently. That's what mixed me up. So yeah. There we go.
You're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Crouch, Randy, Yachty, um, and I think uh, I'll have to ask, but I think with a main event, you
Yeah, you
get
get
an
more
extra
corners.
corner,
That's
correct?
true. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I might have to look around and bring someone else with me, just to have that extra teammate. So, but yeah, just the usual guys. Same thing, no switch ups, and another fight.
There we go. How's this fight playing out on February 7th? How do you see it unfolding?
I think it's gonna be a great fight. Both of our styles coming forward, his style especially. Um, but at the end, I just see my hand getting raised there.
Obviously, I mentioned it there, Oliveira, a bit of a kind of an up-and-comer in the weight class. You get this win here if all goes well. That's got to put you kind of back in that spot before Umar, I would think, just because, again, ranked guy, a lot of hype. Like how do you sort of look at a win here over Oliveira?
Yeah, no, I think it definitely gets you back to where I was. He's a ranked guy. He's on the come up. He has great experience. I think he has more fights than I do, um, and it's also on a main event. So I think a win over him, with everything else, puts me right back to where I was at.
And it's interesting right now with the fact that we have a new champion, and I don't know what is happening with Petr Yan, but I wanted to get your take on like how the division could unfold because I kind of get the sense they're not going to give Merab the trilogy for some reason. Like he may get to cash in on that title shot, but I feel like maybe they'll give him some time off. Do you think your buddy there, Sean O'Malley, if he beats Song Yadong, they might give him the title shot just because again we've seen some of the matchmaking recently. They are kind of valuing sort of those big names and getting them big opportunities there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that could happen, especially with a win and him coming off a win. It makes sense. They had a great back and forth fight. Their last one was kind of controversial as well. So it could be a great rematch, and they could make it'd be a good promo. So
Well, that's I already see the promo. It's like O'Malley beat him and it was controversial, and this is why we're going to do the fight. Like, I'm not saying Sean doesn't necessarily deserve it, but again, because there's a lot of contenders, right? There's Umar, there's Merab, there's all these things, but like we said, we've seen with some of the matchmaking, it does seem, especially in this new Paramount era, that they are going for some of the bigger names. So I think that's kind of in O'Malley's favor, right? So it should be interesting there. And then I was going to ask you as well. I know you guys don't really train much together, but do you guys still keep in touch? Because I know he's kind of more at Tim's gym these days, right? Is my understanding?
yeah, I mean, I don't talk to him all the time,
Mhm.
but man, like the he'll just hit me up at like these moments, like right before a fight.
Mhm.
He'll send me a text or something. Hey, good luck, brother. Wish you luck. Like, go kill this guy.
Yeah.
Easy money. The things Sean says. So,
Yeah, of course.
um, so it's cool to get those messages. Because we did train a lot together back in the day, and we did come up together. So it's always nice to get those messages from him. And if I run into him, you know, it's always good vibes and everything.
Well, and I think that speaks to your team as a whole. That like I've just always sensed that with the lab. Like it's a really big family. You guys are all so supportive. Like when I always remember when you win, you just see your teammates all on social media like super happy. Like I'm sure that's translated into some of the success you guys have had as well. Is that you're such a tight knit group.
Yeah, no, and I love that atmosphere that we have at the lab. Anytime anyone's fighting, we're always reposting their things, cheering them on, and I think it only brings up everyone else, and it's just it's just a good family environment. I
Yeah.
like it. Good
Well,
team,
and
strong
I
team
like it too,
together.
because like, and I like it because like, I know you don't talk a lot of trash. It's not really your nature, but like, for example, like Drakkar Close will on like your behalf, which I think is so cool. Like you have guys that are sticking up for each other, which you don't see a lot of that with these teams these days.
No, a lot of these teams, I feel like they're not as tight as our teams. You'll have like little groups that train in the gym, but they're not really part of like the main part or here and there. Sometimes you don't even know who's fighting, but yet they're training in your gym. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Obviously, we got this White House event coming up. Is that something you want to fight on? I know some fighters are very adamant about like being on there. I think it's going to happen in June. Do you hope to be on that card, or that doesn't matter to you?
Obviously, that would be super super cool, because it'd be like a historic thing, and you're fighting at the White House. So um, yeah, if I had that opportunity, I would definitely take it. There'd be a lot of eyes on that card for sure. Um, but we'll see. I heard that card is supposed to be stacked from top to bottom, so I think it's all a matter of how you perform leading up to till that card build up. So we'll see that. I would love to. That'd be cool.
It's awesome. Okay, last question. How's your daughter doing? She must be excited for Christmas. It's a big one, right, for the young ones. So
Mhm. Yeah, she's doing good. Her birthday, I was there at the end of October. I missed it just by a day, but we had a great following week. I didn't have to train. I didn't have to go to the gym. So every day with her, it was pretty cool afterwards. But yeah, she's excited for Santa Claus to come and get some presents, and I think it's her favorite holiday for sure.
there we go. Appreciate it, Mario. Thanks so much. And by the way, mad skills holding the phone up this entire interview. That in itself is a skill. So I appreciate you doing that. It's UFC Fight Night, February 7th. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Uh, as usual, I want to thank the MMA Lab, Rhythm Agency. Want to thank you for giving me this platform, and yeah, and all the fans that turned over. Thank you guys.